Hi everyone, let's work on grading this site plan together. First, carefully read these instructions, all right, on your own. And then let's take a look at this site. I'm going to zoom in. And you can see we've got kind of a oddly shaped semi-rectangular site. We've got some setbacks, all right, probably a rear yard, probably a front yard, probably some side yards. Okay. And then take a look at the contours. We've got 94, 96, 98, 100, 102, 104, 106. So looking at these, you immediately know that your contour interval is every 2 feet. And we've got a relatively gentle slope here. It's lower on the left and pretty evenly sloped all the way up to the right. Let's create that 40-foot by 50-foot flat pad turned in any orientation on the site and located in the buildable area. So I'm going to draw a rectangle, type REC, enter, and let's make it 40 feet by 50 feet. All right, but it's dashed. What should that rectangle look like? Let's go look at our example plans over here. And probably I'm looking to make this light blue rectangle just like this. Right? So I'm going to use the Match Properties tool to turn my flat pad into just like this one. So I will type MA, enter. I will select the source object, right? And then I will come back over here, and turn mine to be just like it. Done. Where should I put this on the site? Well, it's got to be within the buildable area, right? And it can be turned in any orientation, right? So I'm just going to move it, I think, right about there, smack in the middle. All right, and anywhere that you put it in here would have been fine, and you could rotate your rectangle in any direction. Okay, what other instructions do we have? Approximately balance cut and fill. All grading must be done within the property lines. All right. So starting a grading exercise, we need to choose a finished elevation. And we want one that kind of runs right through the middle of the site because we're going to balance cut and fill. So which number should we choose? 94? No. 96, 97. For this location, somewhere in the 96.5, 97, 97.5, any of those would be fine. I'm going to choose 97.5, and I'm going to write it right in the middle. I'm going to do that. I'm going to slide over here again, and I'm going to copy this piece of text right there, just so I don't have to create a new one, and bring it over. And I double-clicked into it. So what did I decide? 97.5. Perfect. All right. Next, let's grade these contours for cut and fill. All right. And what are they going to look like when we're done? Let's do a quick sketch first. So I've come over in here in this program where I can just draw on the screen. So we're going to have an idea, 97.5. We're going to modify the 98 contour to go, something like that. And then looks like we're probably going to have to modify 100 as well. Your 96 contour is going to go downhill of this flat pad, so maybe something like this. All right. And that definitely means that we need to modify 94 as well. So something like that. That's what I'm aiming to do in AutoCAD more accurately than this. Okay, and you can see that each of these modified contours touches the existing contour in 2 places, where it kind of starts and where it ends. Right, kind of where it starts and where it ends. And anything that's downhill of our flat pad is going to be modified with fill, and anything that's kind of uphill of our flat pad is going to be modified with cut. Okay, back to AutoCAD. Now that we know we want, let's use the 98 as our example here. Now that we know that we want to modify 98 to the uphill side of our flat pad, the question becomes, how far do we want to modify it? And we need to do our S equals V over H calculation. You don't have to do this in AutoCAD. You can do it by hand on a little piece of paper, but because we're looking at AutoCAD, I'm going to copy this piece of text and just write in it for our calculations. All right. And so we know that S equals V, S equals V over H. All right. You were given the slope. It's 1 over 3. Right. And so that's going to equal our, I do not want that, vertical difference over our horizontal difference. Our vertical difference is going to be 98, which is the contour line we're calculating for. Take away 97.5, that's our flat pad, right? And all of that is going to be over the horizontal distance. That's what we're solving for, okay? And so you can say that 1 over 3 equals 0.5 H. Solving for this, we see that H equals 1.5, and the units are feet because we were measuring in feet earlier. All right, so the 98 contour line must be 1.5 feet away from this flat pad. How do we get that in AutoCAD? We're going to use the offset command. So I'm going to type O, enter, and it says specify our offset distance. I'm going to say 1.5 feet. All right, you could also say 1 foot 6 inches, but 1.5 feet will work as well. Enter. I will offset my flat pad, and there we have that distance. I don't want that line to show up on our final drawing. All right, so I'm going to switch it over here to the guidelines layer, and notice that that's a non-plotting layer. All right, so let's draw this 98 contour. And we know from our sketch it's going to kind of come like this, and then around, and then down like that. All right, and we're going to draw this with a spline. Let's make sure I'm on the right layer. I want to be drawing on the modified contours layer now. All right, and I'm going to start a spline command, SPL, enter. Okay. Notice, I just had to turn my snaps on. Notice if you had your snaps on, it's actually fairly hard to draw the line that you want because it's going to snap to the end of your contour line. It's not exactly what you want. So let's turn the snaps off. Okay. And you can either by eye pick your first point right about here, as close as you can get it, or if you're a AutoCAD fan and you want to be super accurate, we're going to use a snap called near. NEA, enter. NEA is the shortcut for near. And notice I've got this kind of arrow glass looking snap, and it's going to snap to whatever line that I hover over. Okay. In this case, I want to be right about here. Okay. So we've done our first point on the 98 contour. Let's zoom in a little bit. And we're going to draw about like this. All right. Making sure to never get closer than that 1.5 feet. Okay, and I want to end up right about here somewhere, and I will use that near snap again, NEA, enter, right there. And I think I'm done, so I'm going to hit enter to finish that contour line. Take a look. I don't like this spot right here, so I'm going to adjust my points just a little bit. All right. something like that. Fix it up, and then here is our lovely new contour line. All right, I have just done the calculations and drawn my other modified contours. I'm going to turn off that guidelines layer just so we don't see it. Which one is it? This one. Okay. And this is going to be our finished site drawing right here. But there's a piece that we're still missing, and it is dimensions. Let's take a look at some dimensions over here. Notice these dimensions on the example plan. We've got a 6 foot minimum. All right, so this is what we're looking for. All right. Let's look at the, let's get on the dimensions layer. I'm going to draw just kind of a guideline. I need my perpendicular snap-on. And what we're looking for is a dimension between, showing the spacing between these new modified guideline contours and the spacing here, and then here and here. And we're not looking for the exact number of where I drew that spline. We're looking for the minimum number that you calculated. So let me show you how to get those. First, I'm going to create my dimensions. So I'm going to draw some linear dimensions. Oops, I need my snaps back on. All right, and I need a dimension from here to here. And from here to here. Okay. And this line right here, I can, I'm going to put on that guideline layer and get rid of. Well, that's not very useful, is it? So one of the things I can do is to, let's see, turn this off, is to pull these dimensions to a location where we can see them. Okay. Something like that. Where could we see these dimensions? All right, but they're still showing the numbers that we don't want. And it turns out that you can edit this to say whatever you want. For example, we did our calculation to find out that this should be a minimum of 1 foot 6 inches. So what I did was double click on the text piece of it, and notice we are now in a text editor. We're editing this text. The 2 foot 4 inches is highlighted with purple. That means that it is it's the automatic dimension. It's the actual number. We don't really want that, so I'm just going to select that and delete it. And notice I can just type whatever text I want in here. So I'm going to say 1 foot 6 inches minimum. Okay, and if you want to, you can pull this and give your text box a width. And that's how you would dimension this section right there. All right, I have my dimensions, and there's one more piece to this. It says dimension the location of the flat pad on the site. So here's what we need to do is to run a line of dimensions from the flat pad to a corner of the site, right? All right, I have found our flat pad within the site, and I've dimensioned these new contours. Let's pause here, and in our next video, we'll show how to draw the site profile.